Aloha and welcome to this special episode, guys. Today, I want to dedicate this episode to the bridge between Hawaii and Japan, two places that are incredibly dear to my heart. Both of these cultures have shaped my understanding of tradition, honor, and spirituality, and there are no better ways to honor that connection than by talking about the sumo wrestling. And of course, when we talk about this connection, we have to mention Akebono, a local from Hawaii who became the very first non-Japanese Yokozuna, the grand champion of sumo wrestling.
Weighing in at 504 pounds, Akebono.
He has been called the most intimidating champion in Japan's history of sumo wrestling. Akebono!
He held that prestigious title from 1993 until his retirement in 2001, representing Hawaii with pride and dignity on the world stage. Akebono's journey is a true testament to the deep bond between the two cultures. Before we dive in today, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who might appreciate it. Your support helps us grow our ohana and continue exploring these deep and meaningful topics together. Now, before we start this episode, I highly recommend that you watch this episode on either YouTube or Spotify, because I will be sharing some videos with you. Now, sumo is a rich tradition that has many rabbit holes to explore, but today's episode will give you a great overview of the spiritual and cultural significance of the sport and its rituals. So with that, let's dive in and explore the traditions that make sumo wrestling much more than just a sport. Growing up in Hawaii in the 70s and 80s, I was fortunate to be part of a community that was really richly influenced by Japanese culture in a way that isn't common on the mainland at that time. My mom and her side of the family is from Japan. So whenever I'd visit Japan, sumo was something that we watched together. I watched it with my grandfather, my Oji-chan. So for me, this topic feels very close to home, not just because of the sport, but because of its deeper cultural and spiritual meaning. And like I said, I was very fortunate to have that culture growing up in Hawaii. The Japanese culture, the American culture, and the Hawaiian culture all mixed into one. So sumo wrestling, it was right there in that mix. And my father would also watch the sumo wrestling here with us. So sumo wrestling, it's more than just a national sport in Japan. It's deeply intertwined with Shinto, the indigenous religion of Japan. That religion is probably over 1,500 years old. And Shintoism is centered around the belief that the world is alive with spirits, known as kami. And this spirit, they believe, inhabits everything from trees to the mountains and rivers, and even the wind itself. So these spirits, the kami, are the central belief system in Japan. And they can be found, like I said, everywhere in nature, from the mountains to the streams. So the Japanese people have always felt a very close connection with nature and its spiritual forces. And in the early days, sumo wasn't performed for entertainment. It was a sacred ritual performed to honor the kami, the gods, the spirits. Sumo matches were often held as part of a religious ceremonies, especially during times when the community needed blessings from the kami for good harvest or to ward off natural disasters like drought or storms. So these matches were considered sacred offerings to the gods. The sumo wrestlers, or bikishi, were not simply athletes in these times. They were seen as spiritual figures, performing rituals that would maintain balance between the physical world and the spiritual world. Now, it's important to understand that most of the Shinto elements in sumo are symbolic. For example, the sand covering the clay of the dohyo symbolizes purity in Shinto. Above the ring, you'll see a canopy that resembles the roof of a Shinto shrine. This canopy, called yakata, is hung with 4 tassels, each representing one of the 4 seasons: white for autumn, black for winter, green for spring, and red for summer. The purple bunting around the canopy represents the drifting clouds and the passage of time, reflecting how the sport connects to the natural cycles. The referee, or gyoji, often resembles a Shinto priest. He's dressed in a traditional robe, and before each match begins, items like kelp, cuttlefish, chestnuts, they're all placed in the ring along with prayer for safety, a reflection of the spiritual desire for divine protection over the wrestlers. Before any match begins, there are series of rituals that sumo wrestlers perform to purify both the dohyo, the sumo ring, and themselves. So these rituals are not just for show. They have a deep spiritual meaning that stretches back centuries, directly tied to Shinto purification rites. One of the well-known rituals in sumo is the throwing of salt before each bout. This isn't just a warm-up, it's one of the most powerful purification rituals in Shinto. Salt is used to clean or cleanse spaces and drive away evil spirits. So by tossing the salt into the ring, the wrestlers ensure that the dohyo remains pure and suitable for the spiritual battle that's about to unfold. The salt throwing is also meant to protect the wrestlers themselves. Many of the wrestlers will sprinkle salt on their bodies, asking for protection against injury and ensuring that they remain spiritually grounded and connected to the divine throughout the match. Now with the shikko, the act of stomping the feet, this is one of the most iconic movements in sumo wrestling. But the meaning goes much deeper than just warming up or preparing the body for a match. The wrestlers believe that by stomping their feet, they are literally crushing evil spirits, scaring the demons away that may be lurking beneath the surface of the earth. This act symbolizes driving away the negative forces that could interfere with the sacred nature of the match. Shikko is performed in a rhythmic, deliberate manner, and each wrestler takes great care to execute it properly because of its symbolic significance. But that's not all. Before stepping in the ring, wrestlers perform a ritual that involves clapping their hand once. This is known as shirichozu. The clap is a way to summon the attention of the gods, letting them know that the match is about to begin. After clapping, the wrestlers will extend their arms outwards, showing that they are unarmed. This gesture is more than symbolic. It represents trust, honor, ensuring that the contest will be one of pure skills and strength, without trickery or deceit. Readiness for the divine to watch over the bout. The sagari, the fringes hanging from the wrestler's mawashi, the belt, represents the sacred ropes found at Shinto shrines, and other symbol of purity. Even the number of these strings, which is always an odd number between 17 to 21, is considered lucky in Shinto. And lastly, before the match, the wrestlers will rinse their mouths with chikara mizu, or water of strength. Chikara means strength, mizu is water. So chikara mizu, water of strength, is the act of rinsing for purification. So this symbolizes spiritual cleansing, an essential act before entering the sacred space of the ring. After rinsing, the wrestlers use a special cloth known as chikaragami to wipe their mouths, completing the purification process. This ensures that both the body and the spirit are cleansed and ready for the upcoming contest. The hairstyles that you see on the sumo wrestler is also very significant. The chonmage is not just for aesthetics. It's a traditional top knot bun that's deep in cultural significance. Originally, the chonmage was worn by samurais. It's a way to keep their helmets on steady in the battle. But for sumo wrestlers, it's a sign of status and tradition. And when you're in Japan, we bumped into a couple of the sumo wrestlers, and you definitely would know that's what they were, a sumo wrestler, because you could tell by their top knot. I mean, nobody else would wear that. They were big guys in a yukata wearing their top knot, walking around. So you knew that these were sumo wrestlers. And they wear that with a sign of status and tradition. So wrestlers wear their hair to reflect their dedication to the sport and their connection to its history. The sumo chonmage is styled carefully to form a shape similar to ginkgo leaf, symbolizing longevity and strength, traits that are essential in sumo wrestling. And from what I've seen, they use a comb that's really tight to pull all the hair, and it hurts to pull that hair through that wooden comb. If I have a video, I will put that right in this section here. So sumo also is not just a contest between two wrestlers. It's a spiritual performance that involves the presence of kami, gods or spirits, and the ancestors. In Shinto beliefs, the ancestors continue to watch over the living, and their spirits play a significant role in everyday life. This is particularly true in sumo wrestling, where it is believed that the spirits of the ancestors are present at every match. For many sumo wrestlers, stepping into the ring is not just about physical competition, it's a way to honor their ancestors. The wrestlers believe that the spirits of those who have passed on are watching them from the stands, silently observing, ensuring that the match is conducted with honor and respect. There is a profound sense of duty for each wrestler to carry on the traditions of the past and to ensure that they perform with the highest level of integrity in the eyes of both the living and the dead. The presence of the kami, an ancestral spirit, adds another layer of responsibility to each sumo match. The belief is that these spirits can influence the outcome of the match if the contest is fought without respect or dishonor. Sumo wrestlers therefore carry a heavy burden. Not only must they be physically prepared, but they also must maintain the spiritual balance expected of them. The match is not just about victory, it's about providing one's worth and honor before the gods and the ancestors, providing the integrity of tradition that has been passed down for centuries. This belief in the spiritual presence surrounding each sumo makes the sport deeply ritualistic, and imbued with sacredness that goes beyond mere entertainment. The dohyo, or sumo ring, is considered sacred ground. It's not just a space for competition, it's a spiritual battlefield where wrestlers are tested in body, mind, and spirit. Everything about the dohyo, from the construction to its ritual purification, is deeply symbolic. The dohyo is always a perfect circle, which is an important symbol in many cultures, including the Japanese tradition. The circle represents wholeness, unity, and the cycle of life. When a wrestler steps into the dohyo, they are entering a space that is more than just a ring. It's a place where the spiritual and physical worlds meet. This is why every step taken inside the dohyo is done with reverence, and the space is treated as a sacred shrine. Before each match, the dohyo is purified with salt to ensure that it remains free of impurities. This practice is mentioned earlier. It's rooted in Shinto purification rituals, similar to how temples and shrines are purified before religious ceremonies. The salt-throwing rituals before every match is intended to cleanse the dohyo, making it a sacred space where only purity and honor can exist. In sumo, losing isn't just about being thrown out of the ring, it's about losing the favor of the gods. When a wrestler is thrown out of the circle, it is seen as a symbolic loss of spiritual protection. The bounty of the ring is sacred, and crossing it means falling out of the spiritual favor provided by the kamis. For sumo wrestlers, their journey to the top isn't just about gaining physical strength, it's about spiritual growth. Every sumo wrestler is on a spiritual journey, one that requires them to cultivate not only physical power, but also humility, respect, and inner peace. The strict daily regimen that sumo wrestlers follow isn't just about becoming better athletes. It's about aligning their body, mind, and spirit. In many ways, sumo training is like a pilgrimage, a long and difficult journey towards enlightenment and spiritual wholeness. Wrestlers undergo a Shinto purification ritual called misogi, where they cleanse their spirits with water to prepare for matches. This is an important aspect of sumo that helps wrestlers align their physical and spiritual selves. They see sumo as a path towards inner peace, and the journey itself is as important as the match they fight. In sumo, the yokozuna, or grand champion, carries special spiritual significance. They are seen as the spiritual protectors of sumo, responsible for maintaining the purity and honor of the sport. The yokozuna performs a dohyo iri, or ring entering ceremony, wearing a white tsuna, a braided rope with 5 zigzag paper strips, known as shide. These strips are the same ones you see at the entrance of the Shinto shrines, symbolizing divine purity and protection. The dohyo iri isn't just a ceremonial entrance, it's a sacred act where the yokozuna purifies the rings through precise movements, pushing away evil spirits. The yokozuna's role is almost that of a living deity, upholding the spiritual integrity of sumo and ensuring that every match is conducted under the blessing of the kami. It's a role that comes with great responsibility. The yokozuna is seen not just as the strongest wrestler, but as the one who carries the spirit of sumo, keeping the balance between physical and the spiritual worlds intact. In this way, every sumo match is considered a spiritual performance for the kami, where the outcome is less about victory and more about maintaining harmony and respect for the spiritual forces that govern the world. One of the things I love most about sumo is how it's tied to the natural world. Every element of the dohyo is connected to nature. the clay, the rice straw used to build the ring, the canopy overhead with the 4 tassels representing the 4 seasons. Sumo also honors the spirits of the ancestors. It's believed that the spirits of the ancestors are present at every match, watching over the wrestlers as they step into the ring. This adds a powerful layer of spiritual responsibility to every move a wrestler makes. They are not just fighting for themselves, they're representing the generation who came before them. At the end of each day, there's a final ritual known as bow twirling ceremony, performed by the wrestler from the same stable as the yokozuna. This ceremony is a way of giving thanks to the kami and closing the day's event with honor and respect. Sumo wrestling may look like it's just a sport, but at its core, it's deeply spiritual. A tradition filled with rituals that honor the gods, the ancestors, and the spirits of the land. Each match is more than just a contest of strength. It's a spiritual dance, a test of purity, honor, and spiritual endurance. These sacred rituals, the ancestral presence, the spiritual symbolism of the doyo reminds us that sumo is a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds. Sumo wrestling at its heart is a spiritual practice. It's about far more than physical strength. It's about maintaining balance, purity, and honor. The rituals we see in every match reflect centuries of Shinto beliefs, honoring the kami, honoring the ancestors, and the natural cycles of life. What inspired me to talk about the sumo today was the legacy of Akebono, who brought the pride of Hawaii and showed the world how sumo is not just a sport, but a way of life, a reflection of tradition, respect, and spiritual connection. Akebono's journey is one that transcends the physical ring and serves as a bridge between cultures, reminding us all of the importance of honoring where we come from and what we represent. I want to take a moment to honor the recent passing of Akebono. Born Chad Kaheo Rowan, Akebono made history as the first non-Japanese sumo wrestler to achieve the rank of yokozuna.
葬儀では出身地ハワイの音楽が奏でられ、棺はハワイ州の旗で覆われるなどハワイ式のお別れ。
His influence on the sport of sumo went far beyond the ring, symbolizing a powerful connection between Japan and Hawaii and opening doors for foreign-born sumo champions. Akebono passed away at the age of 54. He was so young. On April 6, 2024, due to heart failure, leaving behind a legacy that still inspires many. His journey from Hawaii to becoming an international sumo icon is one that continues to resonate deeply in our community here. And his impact on both Hawaii and Japan will never be forgotten. Mahalo nui loa for joining me on this spiritual journey into the world of sumo wrestling. We've explored how sumo is so much more than a sport, and it's a reflection of Japanese culture, a connection to Shinto, and a way to honor our ancestors and stay in harmony with nature. I hope this episode has given you a deeper understanding of sumo's spiritual roots. And if you've enjoyed this journey, please share it with someone who might appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and let's continue exploring the deeper truths that connect us all. Until the next time, guys, ahui hokako. Bye!
See it all your finger